Ladies and gentlemen, hello everybody. Welcome to the Oxford-style debate. We are going to debate today on whether women-led companies perform better. I am Dorota Warakomska. I am a journalist, commentator, coach, and equal rights and diversity activist. I'm so happy to chair this debate and looking forward to the arguments we will hear today. The partner of this debate is Siemens.
Odkrywamy go każdego dnia, nawet gdy o tym nie wiemy. Dodaje nam energii i pozwala czuć się wolnym. Sprawia, że wszystko wkoło po prostu się dzieje. Inwestuje w przyszłość, generując oszczędności. Inspiruje innowacyjne myślenie i realizuje nowatorskie pomysły. Zmienia jakość naszej pracy na lepsze. Digitalizuje nasze życie w każdym wymiarze. Dba i chroni środowisko i jego zasoby naturalne. Zmienia nasze życie na lepsze. Siemens. Ingenuity for life.
Thank you very much. Oxford-style debate is different than any other debate, and it has some strict rules we are going to follow today. So we discuss arguments, pros and cons, based on facts, not ad personam arguments. Timing is very crucial and it's important. I will be the timekeeper, so each speaker has 4 minutes for her or his speech, and I will indicate the amount of time has left. 2 minutes to go, 1 minute to go, and 30 seconds to finish. After 4 rounds of debate speeches, I will give the opportunity to comment or ask questions the audience. So you will have possibility to participate into this debate. So it will be 1 minute time limit for a comment or question, and 2 minutes time for answer or comment from our debaters. So I will be directing the questions from the floor to the teams, and each speaker, according to the Oxford-style debates rules, should begin her or his speech with official welcoming to the competing team, to the audience, member of the audience, and to the chairperson, myself, as Madam Chair. Let me remind that. And, well, let's have fun. I hope it will be really, really interesting discussion, debate, and arguments we'll hear today. So there will be 2 teams. First team, so-called proposing team, claiming that women-led companies perform better, led by Dominika Bettmann, CEO of Siemens. And the opposing team, claiming that women-led companies do not perform better. And the leader of this team is Janusz Dziurzyński, Principal Director, Accenture Technology Advisory, Vice President of ABSL. Team leaders, welcome. Please invite your teams to the stage and present the members of your teams. Dominika?
Madam Chair, members of the competing team, members of the audience. Let me introduce my excellent team. Rebecca Henderson is my first team member. She's the CEO of Randstad Sourceright and the executive board member of Randstad. Rebecca is a highly regarded leader in the talent management. Welcome, Rebecca. My second team member is Mark Logan, CEO of Microsoft Poland. Mark worked internationally for Nokia, for GlaxoSmithKline, and for Microsoft, and made excellent experience in a variety of businesses. Welcome, Mark. My third team member is Viktor Janicki, General Manager Roche. Viktor is a recognized expert in medical field. Welcome.
So this is the proposing team. Thank you very much. The opposing team.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wonderful pleasure to be here today with you and take part in this wonderful debate. Madam Chair, members of the opposing team, and all of you, the audience, please help me to welcome my absolutely outstanding and wonderful team on stage. Melissa Hathaway, cybersecurity expert and cyber policy maker. Please join me on stage. Beata Stelmach, President PZL Świdnik and Senior Vice President Leonardo Helicopters. And last but not least, Sebastian Drzewiecki, Managing Director Sabre.
So, the opposing team, welcome. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you. As you can see, we have the gender parity here among the debaters. And we are going to discuss the competency, leadership, developing relationship, achieving goals, setting new standards. And in fact, the concept of women in charge of big international companies is a pretty new concept, as we all know. Women entered the universities roughly 120 years ago. They started in politics 100 years ago. With that, we just celebrated the 100th anniversary of first elections with women participation. And it took much longer time for them to break the rules and take over big companies. In fact, it was 47 years ago when first ever female CEO made it to a Fortune 500. And it was the president of the Washington Post, which for me as a journalist is a really nice example and a true role model. Okay, so before we start the debate, I will ask the audience to vote first, the initial vote. In order to do that, you need to download the application. Have you done that? Yes? I cannot hear you. Perfect. Okay, so go to the surveys application. Yes, surveys. And we have, do women-led companies perform better? And we have just two answers. I agree, I disagree. There is no third option. So please vote now. Do you agree that women-led companies perform better? Or you disagree that women-led companies perform better? Please vote. Okay, send. You have to send the vote. I agree. 162. I disagree. 76. So that's the initial vote. It looks like the audience, the member of the audience, we see the results of the voting on the screen. So it looks like the member of the audience are pretty convinced that women-led companies perform better. So, it looks like you already won the debate before it started, but we will take another vote. We'll vote again after the debate, and then we will see whose arguments convinced you. If you change your mind, or you be pretty sure that this is the case, so you agree or disagree. So we'll go there later on the end of the debate. So, pre-debate vote is done. Thank you. It's time to start debating. We start with the team leaders. Please introduce the topics and present your key arguments. You have 4 minutes each. So, Dominika Bettmann, as the leader of the proposing team, begins the debate. Here you go.
Madam Chair, dear members of the opposing team, dear audience. The topic today is that women-led companies perform better. What does it mean, performing better? What are your thoughts on that? Let me share some of mine with you. First of all, I think hard factors, profits, return on capital. You will hear more from us about it. There are several surveys, like the Catalyst survey and McKinsey survey, showing that women-led companies, with companies where CEO roles and board members are women, do really good. We will give you some examples later on. Then another thing is innovations. There is no innovation without diversity. And who brings mostly the diversity in the business world today? It's women, with their openness, with their communication skills, with the ability to focus on the human factor, to really take into account what people want. Some of my customers even demand from us, from Siemens, that our project teams are composed of male and female. Why do they do it? It's not only about the productivity of the team, it's also about the fact that those teams bring products and solutions that respond to the variety of needs of the society, of the more and more diverse society. Then, human resources. Everybody knows how important it is today to attract talents. And women, with their openness, with their agility, with flexibility, they constitute 75% of the HR managers. This means that they are in the right place because they are the one who understand what young generation wants from us. Young generation wants that we show greater purpose, that we do something that really matters, that companies really focus on important things, important for the society, for next generations. And that's exactly what the female factor brings. And last but not least, everybody knows that the corporates are undergoing several changes, that the transformation, that the change is permanent. And for that aspect, the female factor is crucial again. The so-called transformative management style, we sometimes call it also democratic, is much more open, much less target-focused, target-oriented, much more people-oriented. And with this, we do believe that women leaders are capable of getting the companies through the difficult transformation period. My last sentence is that the one that I like very much, the 3 very typical things for the 21st century, the winning factors and the factors that influence our life in this century are weather, web, and women. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You still have 15 seconds to go. Thanks a lot. Okay, now time for the team arguing against leader. Janusz Dziurzyński.
I will gladly take 15 extra seconds. Madam Chair, dear members of the opposing team, dear audience, I couldn't agree more that women-led companies are a superb place to work. The strength of diversity, innovation, and great leadership focused on people is absolutely outstanding, and who wouldn't like to work in this environment, including starting with myself? Absolutely love it. However, in today's VUCA world, and let me translate it to you, although you understand this very well, volatile, uncertain, full of complexity, and very, very ambiguous, you need a laser focus. Diversity and breadth of experience that present by superb female leaders is too diverse, is focusing on absolutely everything, tackles emotions, tackles the way people feel, tackles anticipation of what competitors may do, brilliant attitudes. However, we do not have luxury to live in the world as calm. The world outside is brutal. The world outside is moving fast. The world outside doesn't tolerate any mistake. You need to be laser focused. Technology. Earlier this morning, we talked about technology and technological revolution. Couldn't agree more. Let me bring a little statistics to that. Back in 1995, it was in the US, there was 35% of female graduates from technical universities. 35%. Excellent, superb, disproportionately high, I would say. Why? Because today's environment needs business analysis, needs analytical brain, and needs fast decision making. You would ask me what's the statistics 2 years ago. 2 years ago, same statistics showed 24% of female graduates of the technical universities. Compare that fact, not judging, compare that fact with the previous statements of technology, fast-moving world. But that's not the end of the story. According to analytics of the wonderful female-led organizations Coding Girls, it's anticipated that not in just 4 years from now, it's going to drop to 21%. This is only one out of many facts that today we would like to bring you forward to prove the point that female-led companies do not perform better. Please mark my words, we didn't say they perform worse. Absolutely, positively not. We have superb female leaders amongst us. Just look at my team. Just look at the opposite team. At the same time, it would be an overstatement to say that they perform better. We argue for the point that there is no statistically proven evidence that we can put on the table that undisputably will prove the point that female-led companies perform better. Superb places to work. However, we would still like you to vote for the fact that there is no statistical evidence to prove the point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 20 seconds to go. Perfect. It's just perfect. All right, so it's time for second speakers who deliver the main arguments, broadens perspective. And first, proposing team, Rebecca Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and my esteemed colleagues on the opposition. And thank you for helping me make my argument now, because I think you gave us all some things to think about in the opposite direction. And hello, members of the audience. So I'd like to start with a business strategy question. How many Fortune 500 CEOs does it take to replace a light bulb? 475 male chief executives to come up with a plan and 25 women to get it done. Too few women occupy the corner office. Just 25 of Fortune 500 companies have female CEOs. That's down from 32 in 2017. Even more alarming is that women are really underrepresented in the management pipeline. Fewer than 1 in 4 hold positions of SVP or higher, according to McKinsey. But there's some very good reasons why we need to do more. There is no question that women-led companies perform better. Financial data proves this, and today we are much better at understanding why female-run businesses deliver stronger results. Skills such as empathy, multitasking, and a sense of fairness aren't exclusive to women, but we are much better at applying them. The result, a greater workforce engagement, innovation, like my colleague said, and productivity. Credit Suisse research shows that companies with more women in senior leadership roles report stronger stock performance, true shareholder value. Those with 25% more women leaders report an outperformance compound annual growth rate of almost 3% more, while those with more than 50% women of a growth rate of more than 10% more than their counterparts. Did you know that women drive 70% of the decisions in the EU and 80% of the purchase decisions in the US? Having leadership that better connects with customers is fiscally valuable to your business. I'm fortunate to serve at a company with a strong commitment to gender diversity. More than half of our local leadership is made up of women, and a strong percentage of our executive leadership is made up of women. We are in the top competitor space in our industry, and we are one of the most valuable staffing companies in the world. So what have we learned about women in leadership, and why does it work? We know that consistently high-performing companies succeed through excellent interpersonal connection, collaboration, and engagement. Empathy, which is a right brain function more pronounced in women, is the cornerstone for creating a more trusting and synergistic culture. In my experience, empathy is one of the most misunderstood and underestimated skills in business today. Understanding the needs of people and what makes them tick leads to better decision-making and better problem-solving skills, and ultimately a better engaged and better motivated workforce. Resiliency. 70% of those surveyed say resiliency helps them become good leaders. Being able to override any negative emotions and bounce back is a hallmark of a good chief executive. And ultimately, multitasking and organization. In my experience, if you're not able to run an organized company, you're not running a good company. And it's true that disorganization leads to missed opportunities. And last, fairness. And running an impartial business. And I think we can all see the role fairness plays in the role of running a good, solid organization. So I think it's clear to say that these characteristics lead to well-run and well-performing companies that drive higher profits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am really impressed by the time discipline. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Now, the opposing team, second speaker, Beata Stelmach.
Madam Chair, dear members of the opposite team, dear audience. Ladies are great, but everybody knows that ladies play too many roles. They play a role of a woman, they play a role of a mother, daughter, a wife, and on the other hand, they play a role of an employee, a manager. And a working woman, a businesswoman, leaving the office, coming back home, she's transforming. She's transforming to another job. Running home, she keeps thinking about housekeeping. She's doing shopping. Because of course, obviously, she has to think about the dinner. Dinner is something during the day, the most important moment. The whole family will gather around the table. The whole family will discuss joys and sorrows. The husband will share what happened at work. So, shopping, dinner, and of course, children. She has to think how to help children with their homework. They have to be very well prepared for tomorrow's classes. And, well, yes, she forgot. She has to call her mother because her mother has a visit to the doctor tomorrow, so they have to discuss the logistics. A woman proposed to help with the transportation. So, yes, one more thing. The neighbor, the old lady at the second floor, she asked a woman to help her, to give her some advice how to invest her small savings, because, you know, a businesswoman, she knows how to manage also savings. So, the cat, you have to feed the cat. Well, she also finds the time to go to laundry. Now, yes, the husband asked to iron his shirt because tomorrow the husband has such an important business meeting, so he has to be well prepared. She has to help him. Now, the time for dinner. Dinner is prepared, everything is set. After the dinner, yes, maybe some news on TV. No. News, she will check everything in the internet with her iPad while she's in bed. So, yes, now the day is over. It's time to go to bed. She thinks how to manage tomorrow's duties. Well, she forgot about the deadline for the mortgage installment. So, it's so easy nowadays because using the internet, she has the access to the bank account over the internet, so she pays the installment. So, Madam Chair, dear audience, dear members of the opposite team, the truth is that after all those duties, she's so tired, she's so exhausted. So, the truth is that the following day, she cannot perform well at work. She cannot be as efficient at work as men. And of course, it means that she cannot be paid the same salary as men. So everybody and the opposite team should agree that women can focus on multiple tasks simultaneously, and they are perfect in doing many things at the same time. So why to waste this diversity to pursue one narrow goal of business result? Madam Chair, let's protect women.
Thank you very much. That was interesting. Thank you. Okay, so the third speakers, it's time to start rebuttal if you'd like, or go deeper with your arguments. Mark.
So, Madam Chair, members of the competing team, members of the audience, thank you for being here. I had written on my cards, you made a good argument, but now I'm slightly shocked. I think, firstly, I should introduce you to a great friend of mine who is a great commercial leader. I do happen to live with her, and she did choose to marry me. And I think you might see a different version of how fantastic leadership can be. So look, for too long, women were left alone to advocate for their access to the business world and to leadership. I'm really happy we're here talking about growth mindset, talking and debating about female leadership. They are undeniable arguments and clear evidence that prove that women are just simply great leaders. I want to emphasize, my intention is not to directly compare men to women, but I may fall into that a little. But I want to bring the conversation about the strengths and the perspective they bring to organizations. I'm a big believer in diversity, and I want to see more female talent across all businesses. But what I want you to think about most, including all you over here who we can't see so well, so I'm coming for your votes. Woo. What I want you to consider most is, with this vote, we need to send a clear signal that supports this motion and gains the attention of people who are looking at this debate. And the only way we can do it is by supporting the motion. But I'm here to tell you, I don't only appeal to your good nature. You talked about wanting facts. Well, I'm going to bring you some undeniable facts. Let's start. Zegna Folkman is a US consulting company. It talks and works for years on defining extraordinary leaders. They say female leaders rank in their highest in the ability to take initiative and drive results. In total, women scored better than men in 13 out of the 16 key leadership capabilities. Speaking of business outcomes, do you know who Kevin O'Leary is? He's that super tough guy on Shark Tank on ABC. He takes no prisoners. He says he noticed a trend in his top performing investments. Women hit their objectives in sales 95% of the time. Men, a poor 65%. Catalyst, Dominica talked about them. They reviewed over half of the Fortune 500 companies, and they showed that companies with a high representation of women in their senior leadership team, not as the CEO, but in their senior leadership team, had a 35% higher return on equity and a 34% better return on shareholder return than male-dominated firms. And then, let's come to Europe. Let's come to the Swiss. Normally neutral. Who can argue with the Swiss? Well, in this subject, they're not neutral at all. Their analysis says companies with a quarter of female participation had an annualized return of 23% over 5 years. Those with even more women in leadership positions, 1/3, had a 26% return. That compares to the average over the same period of time of only 11%. You wanted facts. This clearly shows the more women in the leadership positions, the better the return on investment within a company. What more can I say? And there are many more examples, thousands. Just Google it, Bing it, have a look. You can see them for yourself.
5 seconds.
Clearly, there's need for debate and education, and my very last point will be, once again, I need you, we need you to send a very, very clear signal by supporting this statement. Women-led companies perform better, and I strongly urge you, with everything that I have, please support this motion. Dziękuję.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, the opposing team member, Melissa Hathaway.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. The opposing team, you made some very great arguments, and my esteemed colleagues here on the team to say that really there is, I must say, I'm going to start that I am the president of my own corporation, and I am a women-led business, but there is no evidence to say that a woman-led business is actually better than a man's business. And I would like to go through some qualities that we've actually raised over the last 375 years of corporations. CEOs are inspired leaders. They actually get you to do things that you may not be willing to do without that inspiration. They're effective at building teams and delivering results. They have an extraordinary ability to analyze complex problems, anticipate market shifts, endure mental and physical stress, and achieve meaningful outcomes, change the world, while still delivering shareholder results. The opposing team gave some very strong arguments of why you need to have a diverse leadership team, and they actually all argued of women in supporting roles. A woman as an HR leader, a woman who is, the woman who is an HR leader, not one did you actually argue the woman to be the CEO or the president of the corporation. For 375 years, we've had men as the CEOs of corporations. In the United States and in Europe, less than 50. 95% are men and 5% are women. And so therefore, there's no tangible evidence to suggest over the last 50 years versus 375 years why a woman-led company, the CEO of a corporation, could really deliver results different than a man. So we're not saying that the men-led companies are better. We're just saying that the women-led companies are no better. So let me give you a few more examples of,
2 minutes to go.
of this. Pew Research at this point says that 10% of the top executives of more than 1,500 companies of the S&P said women are in the supporting roles, finance, legal, and HR, and this is important. There are less than 6% of the corporations in the United States that are led by women, 24 in fact. And in Europe, it's less than 5%. Women-led companies have a very difficult time getting access to capital, and you need capital for growth, and growth delivers results and shareholder values. In fact, less than 1 in 5 CEO or female-led companies will even actually ask for the money. And investors are not investing in women-led companies. That gets to one of our statistics. Less than 21% of women are in the talent pool for the next generation of the digital economy. And here in Europe, you aspire to be 25 to 30% of the digital economy. In the United States, we aspire to be 20% of the digital economy. The digital economy is what's taking us into the 21st century, and we will still have less than 1 in 5 candidates that will be female. Female to lead or female in a supporting role. And then finally, you must be able to endure mental and physical stress as a leader. The top female leaders in the United States have just left their positions. One of them, the CEO of Mondelez, she just left because of the physical and mental stress that she will not miss. And then the leader and the CEO of Avon just left because the activists beat her down. You have to be strong and enduring and be willing to take the leadership role, not the supporting role. And that requires you to move forward. I argue that there's no difference between a man as a CEO and a female as a CEO. It's a question of whether or not we can inspire our teams to deliver results and shareholder value. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and to my team.
Thank you very much. Indeed. Now, the fourth speakers. The proposition fourth speaker Viktor Janicki.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, the honorable members of the opposing team, the honorable audience. I think we've heard some great arguments from the opposing team. I would just like to remind ourselves of what is exactly the statement. The statement which says women-led companies perform better. It is not about just the CEOs, it is about the leadership teams. And I think this is something we have to constantly remind ourselves, that modern companies do not rely on just that one person, that CEO. They do rely on teams. And therefore, when we think about women-led companies, it is essentially about the whole leadership team and how that is composed. And I think I would like to move also beyond just the notion of profit. We've heard a lot about finance, profit. The fact that we're not able to gather money for women-led companies just means that the system is broken, not that these companies do not perform better. However, if we move beyond just the notion of profit, there is a great study that has already been quoted that has been done on 16,000 leadership profiles that actually shows that women do have higher leadership effectiveness, and it's by whole 5 percentage points. And given the fact that it's done on a group of 16,000 leaders, that means it is statistically meaningful, and the leader of the opposition was asking for statistical data. I would also note, however, that this data is not that clear. We have to dig deeper in it. The interesting thing is, we as leaders, regardless of the gender, all start with the same effectiveness. However, this effectiveness seems to change over time. And it's interesting to note that between the ages of 26 and 30, it's actually males who are more effective leaders. But I would ask the opponents not to start rejoicing yet, because at the age of 40, suddenly the paradigm changes and female leaders become much more effective, up to 9 percentage points more effective between the ages of 51 and 60. So what does that tell us? If you think about the leadership teams of companies, they are usually not made up of 26 to 30 years old, with some notable exceptions, of course. However, I think if we look at the leadership teams, it's exactly at that time that we need that increased effectiveness from leadership effectiveness from women to deliver that. And there is also the reason why, with time, women become more effective. And I'm sad to say that as a man, that it is actually the fault of men, because we become quite content with ourselves and we stop the self-development, while women continue the self-development beyond the age of 40. So I definitely have to be very well aware of myself now. I would also say that the type of leadership qualities or competencies that women leaders show including openness, honesty, integrity, but also building of relationships and inspiring, are those types of qualities that we're looking for in agile organizations. And if you think about the whole shift in the corporate world now towards agility, these are the types of leaders we need to look for in the future. So while we have many statistics looking into the past, if we think about the leaders of the future and about the leaders of tomorrow, I think the female leaders will be the ones who will be performing that job and who will be leading these companies that will be performing better. And I have a personal example as well. Well, I'm a man, so difficult for me to relate to that 100%. My predecessor in my role was actually a female, and she was the one who helped me to develop, and she was the one who led the company to become what it is today now. And I'm extremely grateful for all the work that she has done by inspiring others, by building the right relationships, and by setting this company up for success. And now, myself, I am relying on 65% of the leadership team to be female so that we can actually be a company that performs better. So with that in mind, I would really urge you, just as Mark did, to really think about what kind of a statement do you want to make back to the world and back to the system that is in operation right now, because I think we need to make it clear that we all believe that women-led companies perform better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, the fourth speaker of the opposition team, Sebastian Drzewiecki.
Madam Chair, members of the competing team, dear audience. So let me start with the introduction. I'm a strong believer in diversity. Absolutely strong believer. I also strongly believe in the support for the women's growth. No doubts. I'm the mentor. I'm acting as the active member of the community to help women's grow. I also strongly believe it's a very important subject to the community and to us. And no doubts, we have to put more effort on this. I also have heard from the team, from both teams, that there's a lot of beliefs. But today's subject is not about beliefs, it was about data and facts. The second thing is, I think you bring this very rightly to the table, is it's not about who is like the equal, but who is performing better. I'm also running the podcast, and I have the guest, interesting guest who said, when you run the strategy, not focus on the emotions, focus on data and facts. So I try to do this. My second guest told me, if you can, keep it as simple as possible. So I decided to leave all the materials you have, all the statistics or the reports prepared by different companies, and simply go to the web, Google the randomly 10 selected female CEOs and 10 companies, and I check their share prices. My idea was to check what was before they joined, what is today, and I took the companies when they have female CEO at least for the 2.5 years or longer. After that, I also checked the same thing for the same sector, but for the companies managed by gentlemen. And guess what? Some companies run by ladies perform better, some not, some as the same as before. When you focus on the opposite side, so companies managed by gentlemen is the same. Sometimes they do better, sometimes they perform worse, sometimes it's the same. Then I said, okay, if we believe in the women growth, and it's very important for the community to have the women who run the companies, let's focus on the teams supporting their mission. And guess what? I was shocked. When you go to the boards of these companies run by the female CEOs, you know how many % of the members of the board are women? It's only up to 20%. And very often when you go and see the number of people and also who's running what services, is HR is run by female leader. Communication is very often run by female leader, but all other functions are run by gentlemen. And again, it's not very sophisticated check, but you can go and check on your mobile what is the situation today. So if we focus on facts and data, you can see that one aspect is that from the business perspective and shareholder perspective, it doesn't matter who's running the companies today. It's simply you have to be skilled, you have to have the right team behind you. When you see the different sectors, I think it's the same story. So for me, that's all for today. I encourage you, you have your mobile in your pockets. You can check the share prices today. You don't have to go and read thousands of pages of different documents. It's very, very simple check. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You still have 30 seconds to go. Do you want to add one more point? You still have some time, 30 seconds. Do you want to use it?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
Was, to the point, I think I just want to focus on data and facts. No emotions.
Maybe you could bring a real fact in your last 30 seconds. A real fact.
No. We don't do that in an Oxford-style debate. Okay, audience, members of the audience, do you like it? Do you like the debate? Do you agree with arguments of the proposing team? Yes or no? Do you agree with the opposing team arguments? Yes or no? Mixed feelings. Okay, now the time is for you to ask questions and make some comments. So could we have some more lights on the audience? Because we cannot see anyone. Yes, perfect. And there are some hostesses with the microphones. So first of all, I will ask you to introduce yourself very shortly. Stand up and introduce yourself. Then you have 1 minute to comment or to ask a question. And I will decide which team is going to answer, or maybe both teams, and team leaders will decide which team members takes the question. And unfortunately, that's the worst part of my job here. I'm a timekeeper. So
I don't take it personally.
Yeah, so 1 minute, go.
Thank you. My name is Sylwia Królikowska and I'm a business psychologist. I've got 3 comments. First comment is about that it's difficult for us to run a business because we are so occupied with the house things. And I don't know what about you girls, but my life partner is like, you know, organized enough and he's got enough mental capacity to iron his own shirt. So I think when you're like organized female, you're using your partner correctly. Second thing is about stress management. Well, I'm a psychologist with more than 20 years experience, and I can assure you there are also researchers that female handling stress better than male. And we also got research for this.
20 seconds.
And the last thing is regarding these VUCA and fighters. And I agree that in this disruptive time, we need fighters to lead the company. But when I think about fighters, I think about female, not about a guy. Sorry for saying this, but I don't know if you know that in Poland, we've got a situation that 20% of families, 20% families, female bring money.
It.
So
Stop.
Companies led by fighters are better, but fighters are female. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could you give the mic back? Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? Yes. On the left? Po lewej. Okay. On the right then, and then on the left. So, let me start the timing here. Go.
Hello, my name is Jana Gębieska. I'm the Director of Transformation in Fresenius Medical Care. I think that the question or the topic of the debate is formulated in a little bit odd way. I don't care so much if women are leading the companies, but I do care what is the percentage of women in the management, what is the diversity, what is the attitude towards women. I would love to have a manager above me who is really promoting those values, and I wouldn't like to have a female manager above me who is not promoting this type of values. So you said that we have to choose one option on another, but I need this third one to change a little bit the statement. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have to remind you that we don't argue with the statement. It's done already, so yes. There is a question or comment on the left. Yes, on my left, your right, yes. So here we go, stop, wyzeruj, start. Yes.
Magda Pajęcka, I'm a Director of Continuous Improvement in Refinitiv, Poland. So I don't agree with either of the sides, sorry. None of you convinced me.
But there is no third option, you know.
That's fine.
Or
but,
agree or disagree.
No, I can also stay without a firm statement. I wanted to give some feedback to the lady. I'm sorry, I don't know what is your name.
Beata Stelmach.
Beata. You should quit your job and become an actress. That was great. So thank you.
20 seconds to go.
Some constructive feedback. All you did was bring some statistics and facts, and that is not sexy, sorry. So, thank you. That was it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for your feedback. We have some more comments.
Hi, Magda, HR, supportive function, but very happy in my job. I would like to ask one question to the female on the stage, because there is a lot of statistics, but I would like to hear something about your personal stories, like where you are right now. If you would say, you know, one thing that really led you there, what it would be. Would be interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, ladies from both teams. The question is to the proposing team and opposing team, ladies. So who's going to go first? You have 2 minutes to answer.
My answer would be it's about hard work and a lot of luck. And luck means that you need to realize the opportunities around you, that you need to identify people who are really supporting you.
You know, to say where I am right now, I would agree with Dominika. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice, but also people who supported my career. And I think that's true for most people, that you're at the right place in the right time with a good sponsor and a good mentor.
Thank you very much. Ladies, would you like to answer?
So in my career, when I look at it, the primary thing that can hold you back as a woman is yourself. And the most important things in your career is to have mentors that are going to bring you up. And at least in my career, I'm in the technical field. You had to choose your male managers wisely because the female managers always held you back. And the male managers I found to be best were the ones that had daughters or sisters, and because then they understood what was at stake for bringing up the next generation. And so I would encourage you, if you are a female leader, is you're going to have to seek the male leaders to help bring you up into the higher ranks.
Thank you.
Well, in my case, I think that the ability to manage all those roles, which means hard work, but it wouldn't happen, it wouldn't be that easy without the support of both families and a husband who is really helpful. At the same time, people around who believe in values, that diversity is something that should be not only promoted, but should be implemented into your daily jobs.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, some more questions and comments from the audience. I can see a lot of them in front, yes, and then if you would like to go to back, there are some men wanting to comment. Okay.
My name is Bogumiła Sobiczewska. I'm a board member of Startup Founders Association and Balance PL co-founder, organization that supports women on stage on such conferences and events. I'm a former startup founder. I was an employer. I'm employee right now, so I have various perspectives to this topic. What I wanted to point out is the fact that the problem with managing family staff, it's not only women's duty. That this is something that we should reconsider currently, because it's in whole world's interest to share these roles between male and female.
15 seconds to go.
Okay. So another thing is what the proposing team posted, that development of leadership and the effectiveness of the leadership roles changes after 40s. It's because under 40 female are more involved with the family staff.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we go here on the right, and then if you could go back, and then we come back here.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sheena Minas, and I head the HR with ABB globally for GBS. I was also the diversity inclusion leader globally for ABB. My question is to the opposing team here when they speak about the VUCA world. And the key skills for the VUCA world typically means decision-making, collaborative skills, and the contextual thinking. And you say for VUCA, you need to be laser sharp. And what makes you say that the women is not so empowered or doesn't have those skills, where I can give you enough statistics regarding women even as fighter pilots, which is far more laser sharp than being even in the business context. So my question is to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Excellent question. So, 2 minutes to answer.
Yes, I will pick it up, because it was my statement. Thank you for the question. It's pretty simple. VUCA is a very short word, okay? We have very limited amount of time when we need to react fast. I personally know women who are not firefighters, but they are pilots, and they are doing exceptionally well. However, frequently changing environment requires this pace of change that is typically an attribute of a very experienced man in today's world. Do I wish to change it in the future? Absolutely, positively, yes. And I'm sure you can bring me more statistics that that's the case with many, many female. But today, in this world of technology, remember my other argument of the technology graduates and ability to crunch the data and lead the business using statistical evidence and business intelligence. This is still domain of a man. Would I like to change it? Absolutely, positively, yes, and I will come back to this in my end speech. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No applaud? Okay. So, yes, we have a man commenting or asking question. Here you go.
Hello, I will try to be very brief. So, first of all,
please
there is
introduce
a debate
yourself.
Here. Yes, my name is Joel Kochani. I'm HR Digital Services and Process Manager. I'm actually in a company that is focused on gender balance. In HR, we are trending in the opposite way, as you might know. Very small question, a short question. So here there is a debate about gender. Now upstairs there is a debate about how to include the LGBT community. So we are trying, and I think we are reasoning in silos. So when did it all become a question of gender? And is it positive? I'm taking the example of the gentleman at the very right of the panel. You described your experience with a very inspiring manager and a female manager. But would the thing had been different if your manager had been a man? I don't think so. So wouldn't it be better to think about people in general, background, instead of gender exclusively? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So maybe just to give a bit of a background, this is the topic we're discussing now, but for example, in Roche, we really talk about diversity in a much more general sense. So we talk about diversity of background, diversity of experience, diversity of gender, all types of diversity. So I completely agree with you. However, as we're talking about the broader perspective of many different diversities, we should not forget that we are still in a predominantly male-dominated world. And that's why I think bringing this subject to the top is still worthwhile. I completely agree with your point. However, I think in the big ocean of different diversities, we cannot forget this specific one, because I personally believe we have lost so many opportunities in the past that would be a shame if we continue to lose these. And that's why I gave this example of both my previous boss, but also my leadership team, which as I said, is made up in 65% of women who bring each one of them as a person with different backgrounds, with different beliefs, what have you, but also with their gender diversity as well, bring a more, they basically enrich the culture and enrich the discussion in the leadership team.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Here we go. And here is the lady waiting for a long time and waiting for a question, to ask a question. So first, the lady from the first row, and then the gentleman over there.
Thank you very much. Couldn't wait to have the chance to comment on...
Please introduce yourself.
Violetta Malek, Managing Partner of Gecko Advisory now. I wanted just to quickly introduce who am I. And a lot of executive roles, CFO and CEO, 2 daughters, 2 houses, 3 dogs, 1 driver, gardener, babysitter, and a cleaner. And all you need to have is 2 things: long-term objective and working not hard, smart. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. And then we have the gentleman over there. What about this side? Okay, so then you go next, sir.
Hi, my name is Piotr Gorzelak. I'm representing Citi. I'm a Citibank Ops and Tech head in Poland. And I'm looking at the audience here, and diversity is not here. I'm very happy to see that the diversity and the split is much better than on the other side, which actually brings me to a different question than we have on the panel, which is a result of what we actually do on a daily basis to promote ladies. Yes, we do have a lot of ladies here, and I guess that these ladies do a lot to promote these the ladies coming up to make those differences. I do it on a daily basis with ops being a little bit easier, technology. Well, it is more difficult because of the facts that we have that are very well known. But my question to the panelists, what actually you do on a daily basis? And tell me very simple number. How many directs you have, male and female? Without that support from this audience and the rest of the male audience that is not here, but also on the other side, we won't have any result because there will be no statistics for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that question. And before I let you to answer that question, I would like to see the audience better. So could we have some more lights? Could all women stand up? Women only. Okay, perfect. Now, women sit down and men stand up. Men, don't be shy. It's a lot of men in this room. Good. I'm really happy. That means that you are really interested in the topic. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, gentlemen. It's really important to have the diversity on both sides here. So, teams, who is answering?
Is it okay?
Yep.
So the question was, if I can repeat, how many of the direct reports in my team are women's? And I can give you an example of the 2 companies because I have changed my job 2 months ago. In the previous company when I have arrived, was 80% of my team was males. Only, I think, 2 ladies was running different services. Also, not only important is the number, but also the level of the authority in the organization. So when I was leaving my previous company, was 50-50. And in some areas, ladies were much more mature in terms of the authority than males, to be honest with you. So personally, I grew this talents within my company, and I help them grow. My current team is at the moment 100% ladies. So no men at the moment, which is still okay. It's still okay. I think we have to bring maybe a bit diversity from the opposite side, but I'm very happy working with ladies. Is it answer to the question?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, we need to speed up a little bit because we have a lot of questions from the floor, and time is running out.
So I will use only 1 minute to answer that question. Well, today I'm at the military sector, so surrounded by men. However, this is a huge opportunity for women. Probably I will not be able to offer jobs for all of you sitting here, but maybe one could call me, and maybe we'll find the opportunity to offer the job who would become a direct report to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So 2 members of the opposing team and 2 members from the proposing team. So, Mark?
Yeah, my overall leadership team is 50-50, male-female. I think you wanted some very specifics. I think when looking to recruit people for senior roles, and actually this is a diversity point as much as it is a male-female point, I think you have to start well in advance, work really hard on building the pipeline for that role. Because if you leave it till the last second, you're most likely to be seduced by someone who looks very much like you, yeah? Your own reflection, the most obvious person. So my advice is you have to start a year to 18 months beforehand and work really hard to build that pipeline of great candidates. And then you'll end up with a strong, diverse choice. I think second point, and honestly, it's the only area, and one of the other team mentioned it, it's the only area where I see a serious difference between men and women. And it's in confidence to apply for senior roles, confidence to ask for promotions and pay rises in women. I've got no idea why. I'm commenting on my own experience. So I also think as a leader, and I've just gone through the promotion, the pay round, and the reward process in my organization, we do take extra time to have an extra look and make sure we're encouraging really talented female leaders within the organization, and making sure that we've got the right pay equality, and helping them and giving the confidence to apply for the roles that they are absolutely able to do. So this would be my two things.
Thank you. Dominika?
So my leadership team is 60% men, 40% women, but what I'm particularly proud of are mentoring processes I'm entering in with female students, with low-rank employees in the company. Because the thing is that in order to have female leaders on the top of the hierarchies of our organizations, we simply need to increase the number of candidates. And in order to do so, we need to remove some of the hierarchies. We need simply people to work closer with the leaders. The role models cannot stand only on the stage. The role models need to cooperate with the young talents. And that's exactly my way of boosting the female talents and of supporting the young people who sometimes really do not know how to deal in this complex business world.
Thank you, Dominika. Thank you very much. Well, I'm looking at the timer here, and it looks like we need to have the wrap-up speeches now. So it's really, I'm sorry, sir. So maybe after the debate we can discuss it later on. But I'm really happy that there are so many questions from the public and comments from the public. Right now, that's the very important moment of the debate. We are going to summarize the arguments, and the team leaders will do that. And it's the time for them to persuade you to vote, I agree or I disagree, on our question. So first, the opposition team leader, team arguing against, Janusz Dzierżyński, your final speech. 4 minutes.
1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, no card, no iPad, no notes, because I'm speaking to you from the heart. My esteemed opposite leader of the team mentioned something very important. Keyword, luck. Would you like to be lucky? And this is why you as a female would be at the top of the company? Absolutely, positively not. 100% agree with Mark. Female are super talented. In many occasions, they're significantly better than us. I admit that. I work with super talented female. Just look at my team. Aren't they amazing, what they achieved and what they talked about? There should be nothing called luck. It is hard work, but this is commitment, and this is self-confidence. Again, something brought by my team. To be honest with you, I could equally well sit on the two sides of the table, two sides of the opposing team. Why? I completely agree. The topic and the question is not necessarily the most lucky one. It's all about diversity in our thinking. It's all about inclusion and giving everybody equal chance. And this is our role. We were asked about examples of how we do it. My successors in the previous company are female. They are doing superbly well. And this honestly makes me super proud. And I would love this to happen over and over and over again. I do iron my own shirts. Including the one I'm wearing today, because the maid who used to help us at home, she decided to pursue a career. So she quit. Bad luck? No. I was super happy for her, because she starts a new journey in the country that is new for her, and she has aspiration to grow. Couldn't agree more with the team who says, this is the way to go for female. Do it. We have too few female at the top positions. Only less than 20% of top S&P 500 are led by female. We should change that all together. And we should all work for that. And us, men, has superb work and a lot of hard work to do it. Because in many cases, unfortunately, it's still down to us. We need to help that change. Having said that, let's not leave it to the luck. Let's not wait. Let's be proactive. And honestly speaking, let's talk diversity language, not the gender equality language. I strongly ask you to look at the question again, the question that is not necessarily asked in the right way. I couldn't agree more with the statements, and give it more equal vote in order for us to be able to pursue the rightly asked questions. And by the way, in ABSL, we have already 3 female in strategic board. Several years ago, we had only 1. Now it's your time, so many talented female, to join us and lead ABSL to the next decade. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, the team arguing for. Dominika Bettmann.
Thank you. Madam Chair, dear opposing team, dear audience. I hope you now understand it's all about potential. It's about our future, it's about future of our companies and about future of the economy. I will put another statistic into the picture, which is if women were equally represented in technology companies as men are in Europe, this would mean the GDP growth of 9 billion euros a year. Imagine that. And do you know why my team brought so many statistics into the discussion? Because we live in the men's world. And for men, statistics are convincing. And we need men to get involved in this transition. I hope you understand that. I wish you could. And then, last but not least, the world is betting on women. We have several leaders, country leaders, like Prime Minister of Japan or Angela Merkel, saying that the only way to boost the economy is to bring the female talent and to make women work, be active, share their values, and develop the societies and the economies. And really, last but not least, I will now close this one, because I will speak from my heart. If that all is not enough for you, look at me. Probably the most complicated, the most male-oriented, heavy industry technology company decided to nominate me as the CEO. And I am not frustrated. I am not sick. I am happy. I perform many different roles in this society. And I wish all of you, whom I hope will support the idea of the proposing team, to be the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, proposing team. Thank you, opposing team. It was a great debate based on facts and statistics. And this is all about in an Oxford-style debate. Now it's time for the final vote. So please, take out your phones, go to the application, ABSL application. I just want to remind you that 275 people voted on the initial vote, and 186 agreed that women-led companies perform better, and 89 disagreed. So now it's time to, yes, final vote. I agree or disagree. Vote, please. And send your vote. That's a tricky point. So you not only push the I agree or disagree button, but also send, wyślij in Polish. Okay, so the result is 100, I don't see it. How many of agree? Sorry, I have to bring my glasses. 199, I agree that women-led companies perform better. And 102, I disagree. What that means? That means that still the women-led companies team gets more votes, but that opposing team managed to switch your voting. So, opposing team is the winner of this debate. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me, on the end of the debate, say a few more words. Thank you. Thanks a lot. A few more words that to achieve equality, companies must turn good intentions into concrete actions. Do you agree with that? Yes. Okay. So if you agree, say yes. We need to change the way of thinking of the world leaders, of the business leaders. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, we have to get rid of the stereotypes. Yes? I'm happy that you agree. Women do have passion, determination, and will to fight. Do they? Good. And they have enough experience, knowledge, and potential to lead? Yes, perfect. Well, so why there are so few of them on the top positions? Yes? So we need to work hard, women, men, together, to change the environment, to change the way of thinking, to get rid of the stereotypes, and to give the chance to women to prove that they are really good and they are performing perfectly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this debate. Thank you. Family photo?